Good morning. Robert Fulghum is one of my favorite authors. And he tells a story of how he decided he was in the market for looking for some real estate. And he knew the rules. The thing that's most important: location, location, location. Top three rules for finding real estate. He wanted some real estate that um, he liked his neighbors. He thought that was important. You need to have good neighbors. He wanted to find some trees. He wanted to have a beautiful view. And so he started shopping, and it took a little while, and finally he found what he was looking for. And then he bought his cemetery plot. He wanted good neighbors because he thought, I'm going to be here for a long time. And secondly, he said, I want to have a bench so my family can come and sit with a great view there under the trees. He finally found it. But then what he started was an interesting tradition. Every year on New Year's Day, he would get a lawn chair and go out to the cemetery before the sun came up and put the chair on his grave. He would sit there on his grave and watch the sun come up, and then he started thinking about the past year. He would think about all the things he had done, the successes he had had, the failures he had had, times he laughed and times he cried. He just thought about the past year. He literally would do that for a couple of hours. And then he would turn his thoughts to the new year. What did he want to do in this new year? What would he regret if he didn't do in the coming year? When he sat on that grave the next New Year's Day, what would he regret? No, he started thinking about the future and what was going to happen, and he knew he had to take responsibility for his life and the opportunity that was before him, and to choose to live it well. I understand how important that is and this tradition that he had gotten into, and it does make things look differently. I love going out to our columbarium. When you go out to our columbarium, you can sit there and I look at all the niches of the people who have passed away. So many were good friends of mine, services that I conducted, people that I knew and that I loved. I can go out there and look at the niche where Marcia and I will one day be buried. And when I'm living in a day where life is so fast and I feel so many pressures, or I'm struggling, to go out there and sit and to look at the scripture, to look at the fountain, to sit on a bench underneath the trees, and then to look at that niche, it just sort of reminds you, life is going by. Life is going by, and every day I really do have the power to choose how I'm going to live that life. It was Eleanor Roosevelt who made an interesting statement. She said, in the long run, we shape our lives and we shape ourselves. The process never ends until we die, and the choices we make are ultimately our responsibility. The choices we make are our responsibility. And it doesn't matter whether you're 20 or whether you're 80, we're ultimately still responsible for our lives. We get to make those choices. I'm reminded that it was the psalmist who said, this is the day the Lord hath made, let us rejoice and be glad in it. That's a choice that you and I get to make. In the midst of all the chaos and all the demands, we are ultimately responsible for the choices that shape our lives. Take a moment. Go to our columbarium. Take a moment. Go out to the cemetery of someone that you love. Go out and take that moment and sit. Remember your past. And then think about the future and what you will regret if you don't do it now. It's your responsibility to make the choices that lead to life. If we will let God, God will lead us into a great future. A day where you and I can say, this truly is the day that the Lord hath made, and we're going to rejoice and be glad in it. I hope you go out and have a wonderful weekend.